that
sorry,
strong
Peanut.
feed.
Got sound now.
That the arms that have opened as they are now. That
They're watching your feed or my feed?
Fully.
Well, I've got mine muted at the moment.
Back even further away.
I'll have your current one up.
For ascent. That strong back is part of the transporter erector, or TE, as you often hear it referred to. That TE is what we use to roll Falcon 9 out to the launch pad and raise it to the vertical launch position.
Yeah, it's out of sync with my video.
The fluids and the communication to both the rocket and the satellite. Point in time, both the first and second.
But if they're listening to my feed from your YouTube,
pounds of
it'd be spot
kerosene
on.
fuel and liquid oxygen.
Don't confuse the peanuts.
That first stage to wrap LOX load in 10 seconds at T-3 minutes. And
we'd be time, Captain.
Oh, they got finished early. So there we heard that call out. At this point, second stage is still loading the liquid oxygen onto it. It looks about 90% full at this point in time, and that will conclude at T-2 minutes.
Yeah, I'll pump the sound through
around the vehicle. That's the chilled gas that rests above that liquid oxygen tank liquid surface. We vent it overboard in order to maintain pressure in the tanks as needed. So as we're basically venting that overboard, we'll see more of that white cloud forming as that gas reaches the humid Florida air and condenses into those clouds that we see.
Yeah, I'll pump the sound through.
At T-minus 60 seconds, Falcon 9 will be in startup.
I can still hear
and
myself.
then just inside of T-minus 2 seconds, we'll light the Merlin M1D engines for liftoff.
What? At arm's length with the blue touch paper?
Yes.
All clear now?
So I need to watch on YouTube.
Yeah, all clear. I can't hear anything.
Stage 2 LOX load is complete.
There we go.
And there we heard that call out. So at this point in time, Falcon 9 is now fully loaded with just over, 1 million pounds of liquid oxygen and RP1.
Pounds.
Start to see those white clouds forming as we vent.
I know,
the,
bloody Yanks keep using freedom units.
Yeah, I know,
kilograms
or grams
overboard.
Or whatever.
Beautiful day at
Ground
space.
gas, close up.
It's a lot.
Beautiful day at the Space Coast for a rocket launch. So in 15 seconds, we'll hear the call out that F9 is in startup, indicating that the onboard flight computers have taken over the launch countdown.
It's getting there.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
And it's not at night time too, it's in the
At this
twilight.
point in time, both first and second stages will begin to
We may see
pressurize
the rocket light up with the sun hit it.
It's
This is the mission director. Go for launch.
7:30 in the morning though.
Yeah. So we should see it light up in the sky once it reaches a certain altitude.
Should do.
T-minus 30 seconds.
Okay, remember when you turn the key, plug your choke because it's cold.
15 seconds. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Thunderbirds, go!
And liftoff of Falcon 9. Go GPS, go Falcon. Vehicle touching downrange. Stage 1 chamber pressure is nominal.
That's true. Probably looking at it from the wrong side. Yeah, we are. Look, you see the sun's hitting it now.
You just see the hit there.
Yeah.
As you can see, Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from Pad 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, carrying the GPS-3 Space Vehicle 6 payload. M1D engines are about to throttle down in preparation for the maximum loads that the vehicle will experience. That'll occur just after T-minus 1 minute, known as max Q. During ascent, those M1D engines
a
will
ground
actually swivel
positioning
and help
system,
steer
why is it on the
Falcon
rock?
9, known as gimbaling.
Vehicle is supersonic.
Approaching max Q now.
Looking up to find where we are on the ground.
Yeah,
Max
who'd be
Q.
stupid enough to do that? God.
So at this point in time, we've now passed through
Oh,
that
look,
moment
it's gone
of
through a
maximum
different layer of
aerodynamic
the
pressure.
atmosphere.
As I was saying, the M1D engines will gimbal or basically maneuver a little bit by a couple of degrees so that the rocket autonomously
There
tilts
now.
those engines just a little bit, a few degrees, and that gimbaling allows the vehicle to perform a gravity turn, which is when we go vertical
Engine chill has started.
as well as horizontal. So we heard the call out, MVAC chill has begun. That is the second stage preparing that MVAC
They
engine
wouldn't
for
like that.
ignition.
Yeah, exactly.
No. Vertical and horizontal.
Oh, no.
So in about
Same
30 seconds,
time.
we'll have
Oh.
3 events coming up in
Oh,
quick
and
succession.
look at that
The first event
demonstration of
will
the
be
pressure
main engine
gradient.
cutoff, or MECO, followed
Yeah.
immediately by stage separation, and the third event being second engine start 1, or SES1 as it's written on your timeline at the bottom of the stage.
You need a Miko.
About 15 seconds
Yeah,
away
get in
from
there.
main engine cutoff, everything looks nominal with the vehicle.
Get in there. They do a better job of their video than.
What, the NASA? Yeah.
Nico.
Ever so slightly.
Yeah.
Stage
There
separation.
it is.
Alright, there goes the stage.
MVAC ignition.
All right, and there we heard all the call outs, and you can see there on your screen, we have confirmation of successful main engine cutoff, stage separation,
Both
and
vehicles are following nominal trajectories.
second engine start 1, and there we just heard that everything is looking nominal for both the first and second stages. The view on the left is really interesting because you can see both the first stage, which is at the bottom, or excuse me, on the top, and then the second stage, which has ignited its engine there at the bottom. So the first stage is still coasting upward. It has not yet reached its apogee. It will, once it does, it will then come back down to Earth and begin its journey to our drone ship, a shortfall of gravitas.
Yay!
So-
Up next
I do
is
love
fairing
short
separation,
little
Okay.
which we see there. Our first view of the GPS 36 payload.
There you go.
No mice on this
Okay,
mission.
got the.
The view on
No,
the
no,
left-hand
Mark.
side of your screen
No,
is the
they're-
first stage, and
No,
the
they're
second
ferrets.
stage on the right-hand side of your screen. Now those fairings that we saw separate, another cool view there on the left-hand side of your screen.
Acquisition of signal
Are they going
Bermuda.
to catch the bearing?
We will attempt to recover those fairing halves. They are flying for the first time
Okay.
today, and
Okay.
we'll attempt to retrieve them using our recovery vessel, Doug.
Doug? Okay, Doug.
Doug.
Doug's
Found
gonna
it.
We're
catch
now at T plus
Okay.
4 minutes and 17 seconds into today's mission. Currently in the first of 2 planned MVAC burns for satellite deployment. In less than 2
Doug,
minutes, you should be able
have
to
it.
see the
So
first stage
screen.
entry burn on the left-hand side of your screen. We expect that to last about 30 seconds. For that entry burn, we relight the center engine, E9, as well as 2 of the radial engines, E1 and E5, so that we have a total of 3 M1D engines helping to slow the vehicle down as it passes back through the Earth's atmosphere. You can also, if you watch carefully on the left-hand side of your screen, you can see those grid fins actuating or activating
Both vehicles continue to follow nominal trajectories.
to help steer the vehicle back down to its precise landing on the drone ship. Now, the Falcon 9 supporting today's mission is performing this entry burn for the second time in its lifetime. As I mentioned before, it previously supported the Crew 5 mission, whereas those fairing halves will be re-entering for the first time of their lifetime. Now, while Falcon 9 makes its way back to Earth, we will be able to see that re-entry burn on our screen, as I mentioned before. As whenever it was sitting on the pad prior to launch, we were able to see some of that soot left over from its previous mission. If you've ever wondered how that soot is actually formed, it's generated when the carbon-based rocket-grade kerosene, that RP1, burns, and then since the re-entry occurs with the engines re-entering first, the booster basically flies right through its own plume, which then deposits the soot onto the exterior of the rocket. So we're expecting that entry burn to begin in just under 10 seconds.
Stage 1 FTSSC.
Everything looking nominal with the second stage.
What
Stage
happens,
one,
what
engine burn
happens to
startup.
the path with the rocket engine we're looking? What happens to that bit?
All right, we heard the call out, and now we can see it on the screen that that entry burn has begun. This will last for about 30 seconds.
What happens to
We'll
the
see it
rocket
land.
part?
The one in space, the one that's coming back to Earth.
No,
No,
not the one
second
that's coming
stage.
back to Earth, the other bit.
Second stage that's carrying the payload. Doesn't that generally deorbit and burn up?
Don't know.
I think.
With the the rocket engine, that's a waste, isn't it?
Back
Well,
to the drone
yeah.
ship.
Both vehicles continue to follow nominal trajectories.
The first stage will continue to steer itself back down to Earth. As I mentioned before, we'll be attempting to land on our drone ship a shortfall of gravitas. Now, today's mission, for those of you that may have just joined us, is GPS-3 Space Vehicle 6 for the U.S. Space Force. Today's mission marks SpaceX's 5th overall GPS-3 mission, previously having launched one in 2018, 2 GPS payloads in 2020, and another in 2021. To date, these next-generation satellites provide increased signal accuracy and reliability to operate even if confronted by cyber adversaries.
Stage 1 transonic.
In addition to helping with national
Stage 2 has
security,
entered terminal guidance.
GPS 3.6 also helps in many different aspects of our daily lives.
Does it?
In about 10
Who
seconds,
knows?
we will be coming up on SECO 1,
TSSC.
our second engine cutoff, and we will attempt to land on our drone ship a shortfall of gravitas.
Out to Ian Banks.
That drone ship is parked a
Stage 1 landing burn.
couple hundred miles off the coast of Florida in
Oh,
the
we're going through
Atlantic
cloud.
Ocean.
Ah,
Pico.
There we just heard the call out for a second engine cutoff.
no.
Let's see if
Oh,
I can
yeah.
stick the landing with the first stage.
There it is.
Let's see if we can keep it all the way. Here we go.
Yeah, here we go.
Legs,
Here we go.
legs,
Here we
legs.
go.
Oh,
Any
looking good,
second
looking good,
now.
looking good.
There we go.
Oh, there it is. This beach.
Plonk,
Oh,
plonk.
Stage 1 landing confirmed.
well played.
Yeah.
All right, there we
Looks
heard the
right clear.
call out that we have that stage 1 landing confirmed.
Expected loss of signal, Cape.
There you go. Perfect.
pretty
Weather
cool.
is looking great all around off the coast of Florida there. Beautiful view of that first stage landing. Now, the mission isn't over just yet. The second stage is embarking on its first coast phase, which will
What's that
last
thing that
about
we got?
54 minutes. After the coast,
Nominal
There.
parking orbit.
and there we just heard the
Sometimes
call out
birds
that
get
we
on
have a good orbit there for its second stage. So after this coast, we will light that MVAC engine for a second time, shortly around the T plus 1 hour and 3 minute
And
mark.
acquisition signal, Newfoundland.
We'll have live views of that second MVAC burn. So until then, sit back and enjoy some space jams.
Space Jams.
Space Jam. Well, we don't need
No,
any
no,
Space Jam.
No Space Jams.
No, we don't need Space Jam.
No, we're not doing that yet. Ooh.
We just got to
Oh,
wait
there's
for the
me.
satellite.
Hello, me.
We just got to wait
That's
for
you.
the satellite to get deployed, don't we?
Oh, that's another 10 minutes away.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, more than that, actually, I think. Yeah, for 2 away. It's when the Space Jams stop. Looks like a fair way looking at the little diagram down the bottom. Still got a bit to go.
No, we don't need the music.
Very exciting.
Why
Look
do
at
I
that
see
Earth.
2 farmers? Oh, I did.
I don't know. You're just unlucky, I suppose.
Well, I can unpin that for now.
Wait.
Hope I didn't break it.
Well, you're still there for the time being.
Yeah, but I clicked the wrong button. Hopefully I didn't break the stream.
Well, we can hear you, so it's a fair sign.
Phew.
James still there.
I thought I broke it.
Oh no, still there.
Give him time.
Give him time.
Give him time. Oh dear.
I still see two farmers. Oh, not again.
Well, you've got two farmers.
Now I see two me.
What are you doing?